Hey everybody at Behind the Chair, InStyler Professionals, Dean Banowetz. As you may or may not know, I'm doing all the hair on X Factor this season, and I have some really fun tips and tricks to show you. The first thing I'm going to show you, because a ton of people have been emailing me and tweeting me and Facebooking me, that they really want to know how I achieved the naughty hawk that I did on Cece. It was amazing, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step how-to. So first thing up, I just want to take some of the hair on my beautiful Madison. We're just gonna take a couple of sections, and I gotta tell you, I channel and Braid a lot with the back combing. So if you'd like to use some products to really lock that back combing, you can. And the way I would do it is just take any one of your favorite hairsprays and just kind of give that hair a little bit of texture. Just go through, taking sections right in the top. I'm gonna actually work in a mohawk section going back. So I just take that center section, and I really like to make sure there's a pump, so I really want to just get that back combing in. And again, if you want to use a little direct spray, you can do that as well. And we're just going to go through and continue this process. And just continue this all the way around. Now once you have that mohawk section done, you can just take this all back, and you can see how that mohawk is starting to happen. You have that great patch. Now we don't want to alleviate that, we want to work with it. So I take the side sections, because I just want to put a little bit of texture into this. So not as much back combing as the top, but just go through, because we just want to get a little more body and texture. So once you have that done, I take that very first section that I worked with, and then I'm just going to take this straight back. Now the whole process is creating some movement in those ends, and the way I'm going to do that is with the InStyler Professional IQ unit. And I actually love the 1¼ inch for this particular look because I want a bigger movement in the hair. So with the InStyler IQ, all you need to do, again, just turn it on, 430. I'm going to rotate around. I just want to put movement in those ends. So I'm letting the InStyler IQ do all the work and just glide it up. Unwrap, and it's just giving me that great soft movement that I love. And from here, I scoop it back with my fingers, and it's all about doing a knot. So once you have that knot in, I'm gonna go ahead and anchor it, and we're only gonna do one for right now. So just take a regular, bobby pin. You never should put it in your mouth. Gay Rose. Okay, so now we can actually start creating more of those knots. I like to scoop the sides up, section that out, scoop this side out, and I'm gonna just rake this up, and I rake this side up as well. Now this is what's really important. If you want to, you can kind of clean as you go. I do just a little cleaning because I come back in later and I do all of that. But now when you have these two sections, it's really important. We just want to tie it in a knot. So we tie it in a knot, keeping this out, just grabbing some pins. I want to anchor it down. And this is really important too because you're building a solid foundation. Now I'm going to repeat this step multiple times into that mohawk. So you have this section and this section that are out. Now the key is, I always like to make sure I tie the knot in the exact same way. Now these bobbies are really important. I'm going to actually just let her look down. You see this bobby pin's this direction. I'm actually creating, if you will, a little railroad track going down because I need something to secure my hairpins and other bobby pins into. So that's kind of your main foundation. So now we have 1, 2. So now once you've created that literal mohawk railroad track, and you can tell how many knots you've done by how many tails you have hanging out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tails. So I have 5 knots on the top of her head. Now I'm gonna turn her around so you can just see this little portion right here. I'm not gonna tie that in a knot. I'm gonna actually use that to create a base to really build the start of that mohawk. Because a lot of times I build the mohawk from the back forward. So taking this, I'm gonna add just a little more back combing on the top to really build that cushion. So what I do is I take this section, I'm gonna actually draw it up, use 2 fingers, wrap it around, hook it on the middle finger, and get ready to knot it and secure it. So I secure this in, do the exact same thing on the other side, lock it in with your matte bobby. So now you can see how this knot is starting to create that mohawk. So now these next 2 sections, if you feel like you want more bend in that hair, I comb through these ends, and I love to wrap them around the InStyler IQ just to get a little more body and volume. And also, it helps me manipulate the hair even more. So once you have a little bit of body, a little bit of texture wave put into these tails, they're gonna be so much easier to wrap. So I'm just actually gonna go through and put some texture in each one of them now so I can just continue to knot. It's all about curl, knot, pin, done. So now once you've used your InStyler IQ and created all of this nice movement in your tails, and I already started this back one here. Now you can go from the back, forward, back, either way is great. I'm just gonna do one up top so you can see really close what I'm doing. I take each tail, wrap 2 fingers, hook middle, bring it down, and get ready to secure it with your matte bobby. And because you've put those railroad ties in, it locks it in so you don't have to worry about it. And now we have this really great knot texture. And I go on the other side, pick this up, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Twist, hook with the middle finger, have your matte bobby standing by, because we wanna just anchor that into that little railroad tie and really hook it. So now once you have your little railroad ties done and you have your little tail sticking out and you've InStyler IQ'd all of your tails so you get nice movement. If you want this to be dramatic, which I did for the show, I took regular hair pieces, just regular extension wefts. I fasten it just to kind of hold it together. And if you want to, you can give it a good spray to kind of just roughen it up a bit. Comb through, just separate this in a couple of sections, and just like I did with her regular hair, I'm gonna use the InStyler IQ, just wrapping this around the barrel, and we want to just create that really great texture. Now, what's really important about doing the InStyler IQ on the extensions is because you wanna soften that hair up too. You wanna get it hard so it holds, but it has to be movable. So when she's still holding this, I'm actually just gonna comb through so we have that soft wave texture. So take this and we're just gonna lock it in on the very top of that mohawk pattern. Hook the weft and put it right into that railroad track and you're gonna have a lot more body. And now I'm gonna take this hair, split it in those 2 pieces that I just used the InStyler IQ on, wrapping the section around 2 fingers and hooking it with my middle finger. I place it around and I start to pin it in. So again, just follow through around 2 fingers, hook with the 3rd middle finger, and just place and pin. So take your section of real hair, do the exact same thing. So now we're starting to create that mohawk. So I'm gonna continue with extension pieces. It'll be kind of boring, so I'll be back in a minute. Now, once you've completed all of the knots and they're all aligned on the top of her head, I'm actually just gonna turn her around so you can see how we start to build that mohawk form. And you can see this is a little messy. We're gonna clean that up in just a second. But this is what's really fun and really just gives it that punch. And if you wanna even do the mohawk just slightly off center, it's amazing. Now, to clean this up, literally all I do is just with my bone comb, I'm just gonna glide up and start smoothing that texture out. And a lot of times if you have any little flyaway, I love nothing more than just to give it a spray with some hairspray. And I'd love to use the can and just kind of smooth it up. Okay, clock. We had to wait for the Christmas clock. Anyway, I'm gonna turn it to the front, because I want you to see what's happening with this little piece right here. Most people would completely freak out about this. I embrace it. And all I'm gonna do is just take a hairpin, I glide it up and around, and all I'm gonna do is tuck it right into that railroad. And this gives it that beautiful like finger messy texture that people try so hard to get, but they're trying too hard to get it. If this is for a wedding, and we've done this before, you can actually put a fun comb or a little jeweled piece or anything and actually line that mohawk. You could take all of these knots and put it in a form on the back of the head just for something different. Now, if you want to make this just a tiny little bit vintage, here's another little tip and trick. Very easy. And I love these big hairpins. What I like to do is smush this down and pin right here. What that's gonna do is starts to create this movement, and you can actually spray it. I don't necessarily leave this hairpin in, but you can actually glide this across and just anchor and spray so we start to create that movement. So now we've finished the naughty hawk, and I just want to point some things out. We gave it that little vintage wave, and you can see the side profile. If you want to actually make this a little bit bigger, you can go in after you're all done and kind of loosen it up, because just a little bit of movement creates more body, so you have that great mohawk silhouette, which so many people love, and it's very fun. It's very fashion forward. This, much like Cece wore on X Factor with a beautiful like halter white jumper, unbelievably sexy, beautiful. You'll be the bomb.com for every holiday party and basically everywhere you go. Once again, I'm InStyler Professionals Dean Banowetz, showing you the daily do's.